Hello and welcome. This is your SET tutor for the English section, Mr. Muhammad Fawzi. Today, we're going to be talking about some important strategies for acing the SET reading section. So I want you now to get a pen and jot down after me what I'm going to be saying. First of all, we're going to be cleaving the reading comprehension section into two main components. The first one, the component which depends on the level of reading comprehension skills that the students must be having through the SAT exam. The other one, the component which depends on the strategies, how to handle the question, which question you answer first and which passage you start with, and so on. Before we start, let this be vividly stated to everyone who's watching this video. You cannot get the best out of strategies I'm going to be providing you with unless you read every day. So reading is the main key of achieving a higher score. The strategy is going to be a sub-element to what you're working along with. So what I want you to do, just like to take a promise with yourself now, since you've changed your education, if it was a national division to the American division, to read every day as you've taken the decision to join the American diploma. Reading is the key, and it is the only key to achieve a higher score. Moreover, that the ACT section does not test your knowledge, it only tests your understanding. Even if you find a passage talks about something specific or something technical, it is not the main point. The point is that you get the idea of the passage, that the author or the testers get to understand. If you are able to hold the idea from a paragraph to another, have you much vocabulary to be able to understand the passage, and so on. Now we're gonna start with the first strategy, which we named the start with the easiest. I'm gonna be asking myself a question first of all. Why should I start with the easiest, and why shouldn't I start with the order given to me on the day of the test? Let me elaborate this to you. As you know that the most important element needed and required in the reading test is concentration. So we need to do two things. Number one is to engage our understanding with starting with the easiest passage. Number two is to feel more comfortable with starting the exam. What I want to be telling you is that if you started in the order and the order is not matching your level of reading, for example, you like to read scientific passages and it starts with literature, you're going to get much interrupted and disturbed with the new vocabularies and new ideas. As you know yourself, you know what you are much interested in, what you like to read about, what you think you're going to be acing in the reading section, if it's scientific passages or US history passages or the literature passage. This also is going to support you with another point, which is the fight or flight strategy. So for somehow you started the passage and you know you've got the ability to go through the passage and answer the questions. For other passages, once you read the title and go through the passage, you know that it is a bit difficult to you to go through. What I want you to do with the fight and flight modes, that if you find one is very difficult, leave it till the end of the reading section, so that you might be for somehow get to the flight mode and do not keep fighting over this passage. What are the most important things that I'm going to be mentioning by the end of this strategy? That you need not to leave any question unbubbled. As it is well known to all the SAT takers that there must be what's so-called the paired passage. The paired passage has its own two passages, either scientific or US history passages. One of the passages supposes, argues, develops, or supports the other passage, essentially referring that the estimated number of questions for each passage is from 10 to 11 questions. I've just mentioned that each passage has got from 10 to 11 questions. What I'm highly recommending for you to do is read the first passage and answer the questions from 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, and as well as the second passage. Then go to the questions which are related to both passages, either comparing, contrasting, or commonly sharing an idea. Why are I to be following such a strategy? It helps me not to demand enormous drive and reading thoroughly and attentively, which requires time, which I am in dire need for.